All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. Have you ever thought about how evolution basically acted like a mad scientist in the ancient oceans? Long before humans were mapping the deep blue and way before the animals we know today took shape, the oceans were essentially a chaotic testing ground. It was an era where survival meant adopting some of the most extreme, terrifying, and downright baffling physical traits imaginable. We're going to look closely at these ancient blueprints of survival, breaking down exactly how these ocean titans completely dominated their environments.
I mean, when you really look at these creatures from the deep past, it feels less like natural selection and honestly more like a fever dream. Like evolution literally put a circular saw inside a mouth because, well, why not? There was no standard template yet. If an animal needed to eat, evolution might just hand it a literal saw blade or a suit of medieval armor.
So, chronologically, this bizarre workshop started way before the dinosaurs even existed. We're talking the Ordovician period, moving right through the Devonian, Permian, Jurassic, Cretaceous, and finally into the Cenozoic era. We're going to watch how nature upgraded its predators, testing out massive shells, then bone blades, bizarre teeth, and eventually even giving these sea monsters lungs.
Starting off with Part 1, Early Armored Sea Monsters. So back in these early periods, ocean fashion was pretty much all about heavy metal plating and brute force. If you were a top predator, you were basically built like a submarine. Meet the Camarasaurus. This absolute nightmare was essentially a torpedo with tentacles stretching a massive 9 meters long. But it wasn't a fish or a reptile, it was a giant cephalopod hiding inside a long, conical shell. It moved through the dark waters by blasting powerful jets of water, sneaking up on unsuspecting trilobites and grabbing them with a beak that could easily crush through solid bone. It was pure muscle wrapped in a giant armored cone.
Now picture a force of 6,000 newtons. That is the astronomical, pure crushing bite force of our next armored monster, Dunkleosteus. Evolution decided to move away from tentacled torpedoes to creatures made entirely of metal-like bone.
Imagine a crocodile wearing steel dentures. Dunkleosteus didn't just chew its food, it literally guillotined it in a 20th of a second. Just let that sink in for a second. Instead of having individual teeth that could break or fall out, its skull was equipped with sharpened plates of bone that essentially acted like self-sharpening scissors. It snapped its jaws shut so incredibly fast that the prey wouldn't even know what hit them. So painting the full picture here, the Dunkleosteus measured anywhere from 6 to 10 meters long. It was essentially the medieval tank of the ocean. It was so powerful that scientists believe it could literally bite an ancient shark completely in half, like tearing through wet paper. But you know, when this scarred, angry blacksmith's creation died out, the seas went quiet, until evolution decided to completely change the game and literally spin the jaws.
Moving on to Part 2, Evolution's Bizarre Middle Years.
When paleontologists first dug up fossils of the Helicoprion, they were completely baffled. I mean, they literally just found a spiral of teeth. Some thought it was a defensive weapon attached to the nose. Others argued it went on the dorsal fin. It took years to realize the horrifying truth. This rotating conveyor belt of pain actually belonged right inside the mouth.
This 6-meter-long Permian predator literally had a buzzsaw for a lower jaw. Instead of biting normally, it just rolled its prey right through that spiral, proving that nature's weirdest experiments sometimes actually work out perfectly. Imagine a creature that doesn't just bite you, but slices through you by curling its jaw backward, dragging you across dozens of sharp teeth. It's a design so strange you'd think it would fail, but it was highly successful for its time.
Okay, to kind of cleanse our palate after that horror show, evolution gave us a massive, slow-moving filter feeder that just gulped thousands of liters of plankton-filled water. Enter Lead-Sichthys. During the Jurassic period, while other creatures were developing blades and terrible intentions, this fish grew to be the size of a house, up to 16, maybe even 20 meters long. It calmly glided through seas full of killers, an ancient vacuum cleaner with fins, perfectly adapted to just gently filter feed. But, of course, being a massive, slow, soft-bodied giant also made it the ultimate easy snack for faster hunters.
Which brings us to Part 3, the Cretaceous Sea Tyrants.
Right, so when giant easy snacks like the Lead-Sichthys vanished, highly specialized, sleek, and incredibly deadly marine reptiles basically took over the Cretaceous seas. Take the Thalassomedon, whose name fittingly translates to Master of the Sea. It was a 12-meter predator, but half of that length, a full 6 meters, was just its neck.
Thalassomedon used that incredible neck for stealth mode, floating silently to strike fish and squid like a spear without moving the rest of its massive body. To maintain balance in the water while hunting, it swallowed gastroliths, tiny stones that acted as ballast, and possibly helped grind up all the squid it swallowed whole.
Now, while the T-Rex gets all the fame up on land, down in the shallow seas of the late Cretaceous, the 15-meter Mosasaurus was ambushing absolutely anything that moved. Let's compare them for a second. Mosasaurus is often called the T-Rex of the seas, but it had superior aim, flippers for incredible aquatic agility, and a terrifying double-hinged jaw that allowed it to swallow prey completely whole. It hunted fish, turtles, and even pterosaurs that were unlucky enough to dive too close to the surface. Heck, it even ate other mosasaurs.
Honestly, this distant cousin of modern monitor lizards was quite simply a crocodile redesigned by a psychopath with an engineering degree. It was the absolute pinnacle of reptilian marine evolution, ruthless, perfectly engineered, and completely dominant. Its ancestors had actually crawled out of the water, only to evolve, turn right back around, and crawl back into the ocean with some serious anger issues.
And that leads us into part 4, mammals and megasharks. So we finally hit the Cenozoic era, where the age of sea reptiles dramatically crashes, and lung-breathing mammals and megasharks take the throne. Picture a python that breathes air and screams underwater. It was an absolute terror designed to confuse future scientists. Meet the Basilosaurus. Its name literally means king lizard, but the joke's on whoever named it because it wasn't a reptile at all. It was an 18-meter-long early whale. It had a serpentine body, terrifying teeth designed for hunting dolphins and sharks, and it still possessed tiny, completely useless hind legs left over from its land-dwelling ancestors. Building up to the Miocene and Pliocene epochs, Megalodon crashes onto the scene as a 60-ton powerhouse. While Dunkleosteus maxed out around 10 meters and Mosasaurus hit 15, Megalodon reached a staggering 18 meters. It was a shark so incredibly massive that it dwarfed almost everything that came before it, making modern whales look like mere snacks. We are talking about an astronomical bite force of 180,000 newtons. With teeth like 18-centimeter steak knives, it could crush a car like a soda can. Remember Dunkleosteus and its impressive 6,000 newtons? Yeah, Megalodon completely shattered that record. Its teeth were the size of a human hand, and it didn't just nibble its food. It forcefully removed massive, devastating chunks. And by the way, despite what the movies might tell you, Megalodon never lived with the dinosaurs. It ruled much later, until colder waters eventually ended its reign. When paleontologists uncover fossilized whale bones from this era, they frequently find neat, circular bite marks carved right into them. It looks exactly like someone took a massive cookie cutter to the bone. Megalodon was the undisputed king of the Cenozoic seas, right up until shifting climates and ocean cooling changed the food web forever. But here is the ultimate twist of this explainer. The ocean didn't actually lose its monsters, it just gave them lungs. Evolution simply shifted its focus, moving some of its most efficient killers onto the land. The giant marine reptiles faded away, replaced by incredibly smart, air-breathing mammals. And meanwhile, terrestrial evolution was cooking up its own masterpieces. Which actually brings us to the gray wolf, proving that the brutal engineering of the prehistoric seas totally echoes in the terrestrial hunters we have today. We no longer have 18-meter buzzsaw sharks or armored tentacle torpedoes. Instead, we have highly intelligent, pack-hunting mammals that act as true ecosystem architects. The sheer power of evolution that created Megalodon is the exact same force that meticulously designed the gray wolf.
So think about all of these incredible, wild adaptations for a second. Which of these prehistoric sea monsters would you absolutely not want to meet in the dark? From the guillotine jaws of Dunkleosteus to the stealthy 6-meter neck of Thalassomedon, the deep past was basically filled with absolute horrors. Let me know what terrifies you the most. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into evolution's workshop. Keep exploring, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.